The Connector Live TV, The Influencers. I'm your co-host, Sherri Pennington. I'm a radio producer, a talk show host, and your seat to the voices that are shaping culture, sparking change, and showing up with purpose. Tonight, we're bringing you stories that stir the soul and strategies that shift the game. But before we dive in, let me introduce the man who makes this platform beat with power. He's a poet, speaker, strategist, and creative visionary. He's mentored hundreds of youth through the Philadelphia Youth Leadership Council and served as a community engagement specialist for the city of Philadelphia. There, he trained and empowered grassroots leadership across many neighborhoods. He's also the media director for the Miss Black America pageant TV special, which amplifies Black excellence on a national stage. And if that wasn't enough, he's the author of 4 transformational books: Be Magnificent, Exceed Your Expectations, Urban Networking, The Essential Guide for the Urban Professional, The 12 Secrets of a Master Networker, From Ordinary to Extraordinary, and Cracking the Code, From Rejection to Selection. Please welcome my brother in brilliance, your host, and the heartbeat of this show, Michael Rice.
I'm your host, Michael Rice, and this is the Connector Live TV, The Influencers. Stay bold, stay brilliant, and as always, be magnificent.
From the heart of Philadelphia rises a woman whose recipes are rooted in tradition, but whose impact is anything but ordinary. Saudamani Gray is the founder and creative force behind Tiny Cakes Bakery, a boutique bakery renowned for its custom cakes and pastries crafted from traditional recipes using only natural and organic ingredients. Since opening her doors in 2015, Saudamani has catered to diverse dietary needs, including vegan and diabetic clientele, while serving it up with sweetness and soul. Armed with dual degrees in marketing and business management from both Temple University and Pierce College, Saudamani blends culinary artistry with strategic brilliance. Her journey includes prestigious cooking demonstrations with Williams-Sonoma, features on Fox News and Channel 17, and accolades from the National Black Chef Association and Philadelphia Cupcake Wars. But Saudamani's influence extends beyond the kitchen. She's the visionary behind the Date and Bake experience, the founder of the Tiny Bakers Youth Program, and a consistent advocate for Black-owned businesses through events like Wine and Cheese Creative Art Series. With certifications from Wharton, ServeSafe, and multiple business development cohorts, Saudamani is not just baking cakes, she's building bridges, nurturing youth, and redefining what it means to be a woman of influence. Today, we sit down with this culinary changemaker to explore the ingredients of her success, the flavor of her purpose, and the legacy she's creating, one tiny cake at a time.
Welcome to Connector Live TV, The Influencers. Hey, sis, what's up?
How you
How
doing?
are you?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you're looking marvelous.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
so we're going to just jump right into this. Tell us about how the origins of the beginning of Tiny Cakes Bakery.
Well, my son, my second to the youngest son, was 11 months. He was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And at that time, that was back in 2022. He was born in 21. And, I said 21, right? 2001, sorry.
Okay.
And, he was diagnosed in 2002. And as he got older to school age, and he started school and started really recognizing, like, peer pressure and those things and wanting to fit in. I was getting calls from the school saying, hey, your son is, his blood sugar sky high. We caught him on the playground sneaking candy and pastries and stuff like that. And at that time, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say their name, Tiny Cakes had Tasty Cakes, excuse me, had a line of diabetic pastries called Sensibles. And I used to buy them for him, but then he kind of got tired of it because they only had a minimal amount. And then some of them he would say they had a funny aftertaste, because they used the stevia or whatever, they used. And so I just got in the kitchen and I was like, well, let me make him some pastries and stuff, and he could take them to school in his lunchbox and stuff. And that's where it kind of started. And I kind of had him be my taste tester for all my pastries, and he would say yay or nay, or I didn't like that, or can you add this, or can you do this next time? And so I started taking them to work to try it on some of my
Experiment on
You
the
experimenting
employees.
on that.
Okay.
yes, on some of my clients. I was working with mentally challenged and disabled like young adults and the elderly. So they always wanted pastries too, and then also some of my colleagues and everything. So I would take them to work and have them tested, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's so good," and stuff. And they didn't even know they were eating diabetic options. And
Wow.
so
That's how you started.
yes,
There's
yes,
always one person on the job that everybody likes brings in the food.
yes,
And they all gather around your desk, all gather around you.
yes,
So I have two questions for you regarding the name again.
yes,
Tiny cakes
yes.
is
I was,
because they're tiny cakes, and is that all that you cook? Are the cakes or make?
no, well, I was getting ready. That was actually going to be the next part of the story. So at that time, around that time, everybody wanted cupcakes. They were kind of like over cakes. At that time, everything was cake pops and cupcakes.
Yes.
People wanted like small dessert items, like for dessert tables, and that's pretty much where I started doing dessert tables for people. I call them luxury dessert tables, and so people used to be like, "What are your varieties?" So I used to think about those old-fashioned recipes that I grew up making, like pound and apple upside down cake, coconut cakes, and stuff like that.
Yes.
And what I did was make them into cupcake form. And people used to be like, "Oh my God, there's so much flavor in this tiny cake." And that's where tiny cakes came from.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Actually, my mouth is watering right now. We was kind of hoping you was going to bring some cakes here.
Sorry, I was running
We was
around.
already, we all
I
like,
know. I just off a high from yesterday. I grabbed stuff.
I love the fact that diabetic is an option.
Yes.
That's very important, having diabetes. Myself,
Yes.
Because you can't really participate in all of that other extra stuff.
Yes.
So, what is that ratio like of you preparing diabetic compared to regular? If you can quantify that.
Well, it's becoming, especially in the black community,
Yep.
diabetes is really, rampant, especially with after a certain age, it's usually type 2. Type 1 is not so common, but it has become common in the obesity epidemic for young teens and them being overweight and stuff like that. They're usually borderline diabetics sometimes, I'm finding out. But at that time, my son was the youngest ever diagnosed in Philadelphia at that time. Yeah, so it was like kind of like a test dummy,
Wow.
guinea pig. They didn't know what type of regimen to use
how
on
old
him.
was he?
11 months.
11 months.
I had diabetes.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Interesting.
really tough. He almost passed away. So
I'm
yeah,
glad he's here to
Yeah.
help you expand your business.
yes. Now he's 23. Well, 24.
23?
Sorry, 24.
Okay.
Yes. But yeah, healthy eating is becoming almost like the norm now, or the rave, all the rave now. People are really becoming health conscious when it comes to like vegans or being vegetarians. So I also offer vegan options as well. I actually grew up a vegetarian. Both of my parents were considered vegan back in the day, but at the time it wasn't called vegan. It was called strict vegetarian, where we didn't eat any fish, meat, or eggs, anything that came from an animal. So that was the background I actually came up growing up in, and I didn't really start eating some meat items. I don't really eat meat every single day. But somebody gave me some chicken, and
That's it.
I fell in love.
Chicken nugget. every
That's the
time.
common denominator here among certain people.
At 14. And I was like, okay, y'all got me with that, but I don't really eat beef like that. It's very rare, like once every 6 months or something.
Okay.
I might have a taste for a steak or a burger, and then I'm like, oh, I'm over it. Like,
You have vegan pastries, is what you're saying?
yes.
Okay, interesting. And where can people find out about the varieties that you offer?
Oh, so I have a website, pretty much online based. My website is www.ordertinycakes.com. On all social media platforms as Tiny Cakes Bakery. Instagram is tinycakes_36. Facebook, LinkedIn, everywhere.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
when are you going to open? When are you opening at the airport?
so
Hopefully.
I'll be in there, but my brick and mortar the end of this year.
Well, kudos again on
Well,
both.
you know that Philadelphia is going to be the center of the world
That's
in
right.
2026.
That's
The
right.
World Cup
Yes.
is coming here
Yes.
along with dozens of other initiatives.
Well, I signed up as a vendor for the PGA.
Okay. If you were to think of one obstacle that you had to overcome in order to move your business forward, what would you say is that?
COVID.
COVID?
Yep.
I love it. COVID could make you or break you. It seemed like
Right,
Listen.
right. Well, they said that
COVID.
almost 80% of black businesses wasn't going to come back. So,
They But
then
but
a
you're
lot-
one of the ones, you're the resilient
yes,
ones.
Yeah.
They came back,
Yes.
right?
Yes, in 2020, I started my nonprofit, Tiny Bakers. So I've been doing that a lot, and that just really gives me a lot of joy. And I've been doing workshops at local high schools that have culinary programs,
Yeah.
like Simon Gratz and Martin Luther King High School.
Okay.
And,
Well, we want to thank you for
Yeah.
coming out
Yes.
tonight to
Oh,
the
thank you
influencer.
for
You
having
definitely
me.
are an influencer. You definitely are making an impact within
Yes.
your community.
Thank you.
yes.
So tonight we didn't just talk about cakes. We talked about courage. And Ms. Gray reminded us that entrepreneurship isn't just about business, it's about boldness. It's about taking old-fashioned recipes and remixing them with purpose, passion, and a whole lot of Philly flavor.
Yes.
From Tiny Cakes Bakery to Tiny Cakes Youth Program, Saudamani has showed us that when you mix vision with values, you don't just feed people, you nourish communities. Her journey is a masterclass in resilience, reinvention, and rising with grace. She's not just baking pastries, she's baking possibility. And whether it's a date and bake experience, a pop-up tour, or a surprise cake on national TV, she's proven that sweetness and strategy can coexist. And the legacy can be layered just like her cakes. I want to thank you for being a creator, a cultivator, and a connector. Your story is rich, your impact is rising, and your influence is undeniable. This is the Connector Live TV to influence us. Welcome to Connector Live TV, the influencers, and our guest today is Malcolm Hill, the Prince of the City, phenomenal Philly comedian. Welcome, Malcolm.
How you doing? How you doing, man?
Good,
All right,
good,
all right.
good.
How y'all doing?
Good, good. You met Sherri.
Oh, hello, Miss
Hi.
Sherri. All right. How you
Welcome,
doing?
welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. All right. So we want to start with the origins of Malcolm Hill. I know me and you go way
We
back.
go way back. We go
Way-
way. We've done shows together. We've done a lot
Yep.
together. Yeah,
That's-
definitely. And I'm proud of you of this studio situation that you got going on because we started out
Right.
in your house on
Right,
on,
right.
on through photo.
That wasn't my house. That
Well,
was
yeah. But nah, but
you were in the Lions Den.
right, the Lions Den. That's exactly what it was called, the Lions Den.
Yeah, I'm gonna show a clip from that.
Okay. The Lions Den.
You already know what it is. It's your boy, comedian Malcolm Hill, man. I'm here with Michael Rice, a.k.a. The Connector. And we are in the Lions Den. Sooner or later, he's going to have a real lion, but just low budget right now. We're just starting out. But we at the Lions Den. It's your boy.
But yeah, you came up though, so.
Okay, yeah.
Yep,
Because you
yep.
talked about me. You talked about me.
Yes, I did. I talked about the
You
Lions.
didn't have a
Den.
real lion. you know.
Right. Yep, I remember that. We started out in the Lions Den.
Well, what is the Lions Den? Don't leave me out of this.
That was our set before.
Yeah.
In Germantown Gorgeous in Germantown, Philadelphia. We had a
Okay.
set over there
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
some years ago.
So now, yeah, you doing it big.
And you're doing it big too, man. I see you with
Thank
the big stars
Oh,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
And I know you've been in every room in the city, seems like to me.
Yeah, I've definitely been at every comedy room in the city of Philadelphia. I've been comedy, but not just in Philadelphia. Okay, don't just peg me just in Philadelphia.
Okay.
I've been all over the world.
Okay. All right.
But no,
all
I've
right.
done every room in Philadelphia. Yeah, definitely. Yep.
So I know you started comedy in high school, right? You making jokes in the back of the class.
Like I said, I actually I got left down twice, right? I'm not afraid to admit that. Got left down, and I used to have to stay after class all the time. And when we stay in detention, I used to like being in detention. I used to like going to that room. Literally, I was trying to go to detention because there was a lot of people like me in one room. And I realized that the best thing I can do is make people laugh. So once I seen that as a kid, I continued on and just kept going on. And then I had got a job at this hospital, and I used to go to lunch every day at like 11 o'clock, and everybody would come in there to sit around me. And every day, I mean, they literally would keep my seat for me. Nobody could sit in that seat. That's Malcolm's seat right there. And then all of them in the room was like, yo, we got to take you to the Laugh House because people need to see you. So I'm like, what's the Laugh House? So they said, listen, meet us down South Street, and we're going to sign you up on the list, and you need to get up on that stage. So I went. My whole job was there. Everybody was there. So I was like, well, what am I going to talk about? And they was like, well, talk about what you talked about today. And actually that day, I said, okay. That day I was talking about how my father was cheap. His car was cheap, and everything on his car was counterfeit. And we got pulled over by the police, and the two stickers in the window. And when I looked, the two stickers was two trespassers. And so once that's a real story. Right. So when I said that, the people went crazy, and I've been on stage. I said, oh, so I could tell real stories about my life.
Right.
And they went crazy, and I've been doing it ever since. Ever since that day, I've been on stage. Like, I started out with Kevin Hart, Michael Blackson, and, you know, all of those type of people. Back then, where they was nobody.
Right, there was nobody in the Laugh House, right? Yes,
the Laugh House, and I was going to, you know, the Laugh House. You would go there at 6 o'clock, sign the list. 6 o'clock on South Street, sign the list, but the show don't start till 8:30. So you walking up and down on South Street just to come in a room to be on stage for 3 minutes.
Oh,
that's like the time of a commercial. Okay?
Right.
So you've been there since 6. You drove around, you found a parking spot, you walking up and down South Street, you go in, you might be number 25. So it don't start till 8:30. By the time you get on stage, it might be 9:30, 10 o'clock. And you on stage for 3 minutes. And because it was like 35, it was a lot of people in there, a lot of comedians. And that was open mic night every week. And that's how Kevin Hart became who he was. You know, that's how everybody, by standing there doing that for 3 minutes. That's all you get. 3 minutes is fast. But now if you're bombing, 3 minutes is a long time. That 3 minutes can go a long time. But if you're doing good, 3 minutes is fast.
so what was the next step after that 3 minutes? Did you go back the next week and get more minutes, or?
Well, what happened was this guy seen me, and he said, I want you to perform in my room. I want you to be the host of my room. Okay. And it was at Champagne's. So we walking in the room, and we walking, and I'm so used to being on the Laugh House stage. So me and the guy was walking, and we stood there in front of the bathrooms and everything. And I was like, well, which room is the stages? He said, you're standing at the stages right here.
Right.
Okay? You're in front of this bathroom. This is where you're performing.
Okay.
Then line the chairs up in front of the bathroom.
That's right.
So I'm looking like, this is comedy? What happened to the stage? And I realized I've been on top of pool tables.
Oh.
They put a thing on there. I've been on top of pool. I did comedy is done anywhere, and I thought everywhere was a stage.
Okay.
I done been in all kind of situations, and you know, and that's
How it goes.
that's how it is. But I've been doing it ever since, man, and it's like, you know, it's a blessing that I'm able to do what I do, the way I do it, because I don't write jokes, right? I tell real stories about my life.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like real. When I like say, you know, remember back in the day for Halloween when your mom would make a costume?
Right.
I mean, my mom would make my costume. Like I had a white sheet over top me. I was supposed to be a ghost, and I went as a ghost, and I realized it was a little piss stain because my brother peed on the bed. So I'm at the. This is real stories that I'm telling you.
Right.
So I tell it on stage, and you know, and like I asked my mom, right, you know. One time my mom, she wrapped a towel around my neck and had it down as a cape. And I said, well, who am I supposed to be? She handed me a fork and a spatula. She told me, tell him you kitchen man, right? So, like all the stuff that I say is real stuff. So I don't write. I just think about what actually happened. My life was like comical. And, you know, and that's how I do my comedy, you know.
So you're actually a storyteller.
Right.
I tell stuff about the situations that I've been in. You know, I tell a lot of situations that I've been in. So you could say that. Yeah, I could be a storyteller. But yeah,
Right, I remember that.
yeah, yeah.
Matter of fact, tell us about the time when you bombed.
Ooh. The first, like I said, I've been funny all my life. The first time I bombed, I was doing a ski trip, and a ski trip is where you're there for 2 days, and these group of ladies was sitting at the table, older women, and they would not shut up. And for the first time in my life, I could not handle them people talking because I was shocked that this table was talking, and they started booing me and everything. These old ladies was booing me, and that wasn't the funny part. The funny part is when I went the next morning to go put my key in to clock out, to check out. They were like, "There you go again, boo!" I got booed twice by the same group of ladies.
Oh, that was
There
bad.
you go, right there, boo! So I got booed twice the first time in my life. But I realized that at any given time, no matter how good you do, the next day that's the thing of stand up comedy is the rush of not knowing what's going to happen. I don't care how great you are, who your name is, you can be booed in front of a lot of people. So the rush of knowing that you're going to either get booed or you're going to do great.
Right.
It's either one of the two. So the rush is what comedians chase. Like, as a stand-up comedian, I chase my highest laughter. You want to feel that again, right? So once you get the highest laughter that I had as a comedian, I want that again. So every time you're on stage, you're trying to reach that peak again. And, I remember the first time, I started freestyling on stage because what happened was a lot of times I was saying the same stuff over and over again. And this comedian friend of mine said, "Malcolm, you're funnier than your material." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, when you go on stage, don't tell your jokes. Just be yourself and talk. Right, like you usually do. Because I would go up there and say what I just said and say this stuff. And he said, if you say that stuff again, I'm leaving.
Right.
So he said, go on stage. So what happened was, it was these two ladies singing. And one lady had on all white, dressed. She had the big hat. She had white gloves on. She had a backup singer that was a lady standing beside her. She wasn't dressed good at all.
Right.
So, so after the lady sung the song, when she went to sing the second song, the other lady was still on stage. She didn't leave the stage. So she standing there look. So when I came on stage and I said, did anybody notice the other lady standing there looking at her like that bitch got on my outfit and y'all clapping for her? So when I said that, the people were stomping their feet. I've been trying to reach that level of a joke. I've never seen people running out of the room, stomping their feet. I've never seen that. I've never reached that again.
Okay.
But when I said that bitch got on my outfit and y'all clapping for her, and that's how she was standing there staring at her. She was literally staring at her the whole time, looking at her while she was. It was the funniest thing. So ever since then, I said, okay, I can be myself and say whatever I want, and my funny is gonna, it's gonna come to the forefront.
Where did you get that from? I mean,
I told you this. It's what I've been doing all my life. A lot of people do comedy because they want to make some money. Some people do comedy because their cousins say, "Oh, you're funny. Why don't you?" But that's all I know. I can't cook. I can't. I have never done anything. I can't cook. None of that. I don't smoke. I don't drink. But when you hand me the mic, something comes out of me that it's unbelievable. And I done said so much that I don't even know some of the stuff that I've said, and I wish I could have recorded it. But I've done so much funny stuff that's off the top that, I wish I could have recorded most of it.
Okay, well, we could come out to your show and
I got a lot of shows. And you know what's so crazy about that? Due to the fact that I have an ability to do that, they always make me host it. When Monique did her first show, when she came out of all of that, it was Monique and Malcolm Hill. Okay. Ironically, tomorrow, guess who it is? It's Monique and Malcolm Hill, right? So I've been with, I've been with a lot of big name people,
That's what we should do, drop some names, Ed.
Yeah.
That's the cue.
Paul Mooney.
Oh, wow.
I've been with Paul Mooney. I've been with Corey Holcomb, Paul Mooney, Tommy Davidson, Michael Blackston.
Okay.
I did a lot of shows opening for Bill Bellamy for a while. I've been with a lot of people, that was great. And what's so crazy is when I first started years ago, like I said, I wasn't impressed with nobody. So at that time, I didn't get Paul Mooney's number because I'm like, what am I going to get his phone number for?
Right.
He ain't going to do nothing to me. But now I realize, as I'm now, when I meet these people, I need to get. But
That's
back
right.
then, I was always the guy that I don't need to get this guy's number because what I'm going to say to him, or I'm not going to get Tommy Davidson number, But now in the world we in now, you had to get these numbers, you got to call them up. Just like even stand-up comedy, when I got off stage, I was there to be on stage. So when I finished, I would get up right off stage and go home. I didn't realize you have to stay in there, take pictures with people.
That's right.
Phone numbers. Man, they used
That's
to
the
say,
networking part.
listen, I would worry about what did I do on stage, and I would go home and get in the bed because I'm not trying to impress the people. I'm not trying to crack on all the women, all of that kind of stuff. They would call me and say, Malcolm, where you at? They want your phone number. Oh, I'm in the bed. You in the bed? Yeah, I'm in the bed. I'm not trying to crack on the women.
Right.
I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you're supposed to network.
Network.
Yeah, and now I do that. Is a friend of mine, it's a comedian friend. He's an internet star, and he taught me something. We did a show in Atlantic City, and this guy's an internet. He got 1 million followers, right? And the way he got it is after the show. See, me, like I said, after I perform, I worry about, how'd I do? Okay. Then I go home, and that's it. After the show, we go to the after party. We stand, me and this guy, his name is Cleon. We stand in front of the speaker, right? In front of the speaker. That means everybody's looking at us.
Right.
So everybody, he's sitting there with a cup. And a drink. And he's sitting there just laughing. We ain't talking about nothing. He laughing. The women was coming over to us like bees. He said, watch this. And
It's crazy.
right?
Right.
All these women come over, Cleon, let me take a picture with you. Let me take a picture with you, right? And he said, see, right? He looking at me, right? So they take a picture, but that ain't it. So after they take the picture with him, he said, hold on, baby. Let me look at that. Ooh, we look good. Don't we look good on that? Tag that picture to my page. Oh, yeah, I'm going to tag it to you right now. His following is going up. He said he there all night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, boy, you just taught me something. Young boy, you taught me something. I would have been home in the bed. He said, no, it ain't the show. You got to work the room.
Work the room. Work the room. Work the room.
Them women look, oh, what they talking about? Oh, let me come over there with them. Let me take. And he got pictures with everybody in the room.
Okay.
And then
I love it.
oh, that look good. Oh, we look good on it. Oh, yeah, we do look good. Tag that to my page and tag it to your girlfriend's page. So he done got about 50,000 followers just from that.
That's a good look.
Hello, I said, boy, you a genius. He said, that's how you get your followers. And then he wanted to go to another club. I said, homie, I'm old. I got to go home, go to the hotel. He said, no, it ain't the stage.
Right.
He says, off the stage experience. Because everything.
So for our audience at home, what's because the final remarks from you that you want to give to them? You can give a shout out or
Well, first of all, shameless plug, follow me on Instagram at comedian Malcolm Hill. I want y'all to follow me at comedian Malcolm Hill on Instagram. That's first of all.
Don't forget to get your connector mug.
Oh,
Right,
get
right,
your
right.
connector mug. Wait a minute. Get your connector mug, okay? And and follow me on Instagram at comedian Malcolm Hill. And I host a show at Wilson's. I host a brunch every Saturday from 12 to 3 at Wilson's, and we do a thing called Unorthodox Comedy at Wilson's once a month. I'm at the Met. I'm at the Keswick Theater tomorrow. Then Saturday, I'm at the. Where am I at? I'm at the. Anyway, I'm with T.K. Kirkland, and then Sunday I'm with Charles Walden. So I got like a lot of shows lined up, and I'm in a lot of places, and I'm blessed and honored to be able to do stand-up comedy the way it is, and everything is happening from my life from stand-up comedy, because I believe if I wasn't doing comedy, I don't know what I would be doing right now. Might be trying to rob you for your suit. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
It's a nice suit though. Yeah, but I want to thank you for having me, man, and I want to thank you,
Yes,
the co-host,
it's a
for having me.
pleasure.
Thank you for having me, and you look good. Your hair looks beautiful. You are beautiful.
Thank you.
Yes, you look good, and I want y'all to follow me on Instagram. All right,
We will.
All right,
We
man.
will.
Thank you.
We
Thank
will.
you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for having
much.
me.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. Yep.
Okay. What a conversation. What a blueprint. What a brother. Malcolm Hill didn't just drop gems today. He laid out a legacy from strategy to soul work. He reminded us that influence isn't just about the spotlight. It's about service. It's about showing up, building up, and never backing down from the work that matters. Whether he's mentoring youth, mobilizing movements, or masterminding platforms, Malcolm's proof that leadership isn't loud, it's lived. And if you were listening closely, you didn't just hear his story, you heard your own possibility. So everyone watching, take notes, take action, and take heart. Because when purpose meets preparation, the impact is undeniable. Malcolm, thank you for being the blueprint, the bridge, and the bold reminder that greatness is a choice, and you chose it daily. And this is the Connector Live TV, The Influencers. And I'm Michael Rice. Stay magnificent, stay connected, and as always, exceed your expectations. Then Richard Ashby is a walking generator. A lifelong librarian, educator, and literary gatekeeper, Richard Ashby has spent decades turning libraries into launch pads for learning, liberation, and legacy. He's not just a keeper of books, he's a cultivator of minds, a connector of community, and a champion of black history and culture. From dusty stacks to digital archives, Richard has transformed traditional library spaces into vibrant hubs of empowerment. Whether he's curating cultural exhibits, mentoring young scholars, or advocating for literacy equity, his work reminds us that libraries aren't quiet, they're revolutionary. Today, on the Connector Live TV, The Influencers, we sit down with the man who makes Dewey Decimal look dynamic and who proves that librarians don't just shelve stories, they shape them. Welcome, Richard Ashby.
You talking about me? Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yes, welcome,
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. So that's what we do.
So Richard, tell me, how did you become known as the sidewalk librarian?
So when I got here, I'm on. So I'll
Go
be
ahead,
fine.
I'm sorry.
So when I got to Philadelphia, I was unemployed, and my wife was like, "Yo, brother, you gotta find a job." And so I was like, "Well, I'm not a Walmart type person. I can't work in a traditional job." And so she said, "You gotta find a job." God put in my heart to start my own. God put in my heart to start my own organization. So Jenny Blackwell, you know, familiar with
Jenny
Jenny
Blackwell,
Blackwell?
yeah.
Well, yes.
Well, a friend of mine, I'm an Alpha Phi Alpha brother, and the Alpha brother was running the library on Cobbs Creek, Baltimore,
I know.
and he called me and said, "Richard, WURD is coming down. Why don't you come down and talk about the organization you started called Literacy Nation? And our motto is with literacy and justice for all." So I get down to this library and I do this interview, and when I leave the library, there's a lady on the steps. And she says, "I heard you say you want to build your own library in Philadelphia. What would you say if I gave you a building?" I said, "Well, I say I'm married and I can't be taking no building from you, lady." Bottom line. And so I went home that night, and my wife was like, "So what you do today?" I said, "A lady offered me a building." She said, "What you offered a lady?" I said, "See, there you go." That's why I didn't take the keys. So we called the lady, and the lady lived 3 doors down from us.
Oh my goodness.
So we got the keys, and we went down to the Bottoms,
Yep. Man, too.
Mount Vernon,
Yeah.
Mount Vernon, and some others. It was a housing authority building, 12 rooms. We built a library there. My wife and I went to the free library. We got GED certification, English as a second language certification. We went to the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, and we had lunches brought to the kids. We went out and wrote a grant and had laptops and everything, just like a regular library.
Beautiful.
And we went. It was really tough on that corner. I mean, just tough. And every day was almost in a fist fight with somebody. So I figured, this is crazy. So we came to work one morning, and there was a hole in the door of the library, and the bullet was back right next to my chair. So my wife looked at me. She goes, "I know you tough. I know you're from New York, but we can't stay in here because it's too dangerous here. You've been trying your hardest. It's not going to work. Get a U-Haul, get a storage space, and empty the building out. We gone. So when she walked out, God said, "You ain't gotta listen to her."
God said that. Go
That's what
ahead.
God said.
God said it.
I
Yeah.
said, "God." He said,
He
"Rich."
talked to you too.
He talked to me. He said, "Rich." I said, "God." He said, "You ain't gotta listen to her." I said, "Well, what should I do, God?" He said, "She said, don't." She said, "Empty the building out, and you can't be in here." He said, "So put the library on the sidewalk." He said, "Take some tables and some chairs and some
Oh,
books
Oh,
and put everything out on the
oh,
sidewalk
okay.
and run the library from the sidewalk."
Sidewalk librarian.
So I put books out in there for the kids for free and everything. When she came home that evening, she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "God said don't listen to you." And she said,
Right.
she said, and it was in our life, I always tell her God say when I want something, and it works out.
right.
Uh-huh.
And so I said, "Well, God said put the books on the sidewalk," and she seen all the kids and people. She said, "Okay, so now you're the sidewalk librarian."
All right. I got you.
And that's how. And then we've gone all over the country, setting libraries up on sidewalks
Oh,
in bad neighborhoods.
interesting.
And one time we was like, I think it was in Brooklyn one time. The guys came up, and I was in there. So we scope out the neighborhood first, find out where the brothers is doing work, and we set the tables up where they do work.
Oh.
And so when they came out that morning, they was like, "Yo, yo, yo, what you doing?" And I said, "Yo, yo, yo, I'm slinging books. What you slinging?"
Oh,
And they was like, "What?"
so this is a real thing. You set this up all over. How long do they usually stay in place?
For the day.
Just for one day.
For
Okay,
the day.
gotcha.
Just for the day. And
Oh, wow.
we do services. People want to know where their loved ones are at,
Okay.
when they're gonna get out. Can you help me get applications to Walmart, to Wawa, to Staples, and different places where you can do online. And so we do a lot of that. We do
Services.
story hours for the kids, and
Nice.
we give away free books, and that's what we do.
Okay.
And then that's through Literacy Nation.
And that's what I was going to ask you
Oh.
about. Because I got involved with Literary Nation through our mutual friend, Sandra Wilkes,
Yes.
who knows everybody in the city.
Yes.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
But tell us about Literary Nation. What's the...
So when I was unemployed, I woke my wife up like 2 o'clock in the morning one time, and I said, "Honey, God said I don't have to get a job." She said, "What did God tell you?" I said, "God said start an organization." She said, "What's the name of the organization?" I said, "He told me Literacy Nation." And she said, "Literacy Nation? What is that?" I said, "Everything is nation now, something nation." I said, I like literacy, so let's do Literacy Nation."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Oh, okay. And what's," you said, she said, the next day I said, "I don't have a motto." And she said, "Well, wait for God." And about 3 weeks later, I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, "Honey, God gave me a motto." And she said, "What is it?" I said, "With literacy and justice for all." Then we Googled it, and nobody was using it.
Okay.
But I didn't have the money to copyright it, and now everybody got literacy and justice for all on T-shirts and
Right.
hats
Oh.
and everything. And I'd be like, "You owe me no money." So,
Really?
yeah.
Oh boy.
And so what I do is I travel around the country more or less, and I show people how to make their library more engaging, how to do community outreach. But I'm invested in the Pennsylvania libraries, and so I went to Yaden, and I revised that library. I built an addition onto the library. Have you ever been to Yaden Library?
No.
It is absolutely one beautiful building, small, intimate building. And I revised that library. Then I went up to the Keys Rocks, and we revitalized that library. That was maybe Pittsburgh was one of the most prejudiced places I've ever been. It was just, and they let you know that they didn't like you. They gave me a picture for Black History Month. They gave me a picture of a black woman breastfeeding a white baby, and they said, "We want you to remember where you came from."
Oh my goodness.
I was dumbfounded. Oh my God! But that's what they did. That's the type of stuff they did. So I went up to Pittsburgh, then I came down here to Sharon Hill,
Okay.
and by the grace of God, some of the things I've accomplished is I was the president of the New York Black Librarians. I was the president of the National Black Librarians. I helped form the Black Librarians in Georgia. I helped form the Black Librarians in Maryland.
Wow.
I'm the co-founder of the Pennsylvania Black Librarians. I've just been elected to the Pennsylvania as the first black person president of the Pennsylvania Library Association. I take office in January.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice.
I founded Literacy Nation. Literacy Nation is now an affiliate of the American Library Association.
Okay.
And this is how God worked. I decided on October 20 that I wanted to become an affiliate of the American Library Association, because if I'm an affiliate and I have authors like Michael, now I could get him in front of librarians.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me that it would take me at least 2 years to become an affiliate. I applied in October, and in January I was an affiliate, because I kept telling them, and I say this all the time, you don't know the God I serve.
Okay.
Amen.
There you go. God, I serve.
Amen.
And so with all these organizations that I'm president and chairman of, I take those organizations and I bring Michael and other black librarians and other black authors along. Over the last 3 years, I think we cataloged something like 4,000 books, black books, and put them in the library system.
Wow.
And that's what we do. We take authors with us to the Harlem Book Fair, but we pay their table fee. So if we take 20 authors for $200, my organization pays that table fee for them to vend. And so you say, what do we get? We get thank you, and we get to see them selling their books, and we get to see people seeing books and having books that they otherwise never would have seen or never would have had, because our black brothers and sisters are writing from an authentic voice. Sometimes when you go to publishers and publishing houses, they change your voice.
Right.
And so when we have our independent authors, this voice is authentic, and it's coming from a place of knowledge.
Very good. What about the black books that are being taken out of the libraries? Did you have any involvement with that
So
at all?
I'm speaking at Temple University sometime in October about that. I travel the country and I talk about that. And when you walk into my library, you see all these beautiful black books. And one thing I can say about Pennsylvania and Philadelphia is they celebrate culture.
Yes,
Black culture.
absolutely.
And that's what I love about Philly, the culture here, and the black and I'm proud attitude. It's what really makes me think of Philly and feel like I'm home when I'm in Philly.
Richard, we are enjoying your whole conversation. We got to have you back. But before we leave, what for your audience and for the people who are interested in being a librarian, or even the authors that you have helped, including myself, what is your message to them?
Keep writing, keep striving. If you want to be a librarian or want to work in a librarian, just contact me. We have a lot of scholarships, a lot of internships. One of the things that I do is I take people and I bring them to my library and I teach them how to work in a library. And then they go out to other libraries, especially black folks, and they go to another library and say, are you hiring? And they'll say no. And they'll say, well, that's a shame, because I know how to catalog a book, make a library card, put a book on hold, they start naming and stuff. And they're like, wait a minute, who are you?
Right.
You the sidewalk librarian.
So these young people go in libraries with a skill. They go looking for a job with a skill that otherwise that librarian don't think that black child have that skill. So when somebody walks in and she says, I'm Jamaica Naheem, can I have a job? And they're like, no. And she's like, oh, that's too bad, because I could do so and so and so and so and so. And they're like, wait a minute. And that changed their mindset, because they need her. They need somebody in there.
That's right. You're changing lives. Thank you, Richard,
And lives
for coming
are
out.
changing me.
All right. So tonight we didn't just talk about books. We talked about bridges. Richard Ashby reminded us that libraries are more than buildings with shelves. They are sanctuaries of truth, launch pads for dreams, and archives for our collective soul. And Richard, he's been the keeper of the flame, quietly, consistently, and unapologetically for decades. From mentoring youth to preserving black history, from curating culture to cultivating community, Richard has shown us that influence doesn't always come with a spotlight. Sometimes it comes with a library card and a listening ear and a legacy of love. So to every viewer watching, remember that knowledge is power, but sharing it is purpose. And Richard Ashby is living proof that when you lead with both, you don't just inform, you transform. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. And thank you.
Thank you.
Now, if you've been feeling the rhythm of tonight's show, get ready to lean all the way in, because the next segment is where art meets activism and poetry becomes performance. We're shifting gears into the soul of the city, the arts and poetry spotlight. And tonight, we're featuring a queen who doesn't just speak truth. She spits fire. She's bold. She's brilliant. She's unapologetically black and beautifully disruptive. Queen Sheba is a nationally touring spoken word artist, slam champion, and lyrical force whose words pierce, provoke, and heal. And recently, she brought that heat to the City Winery in Philadelphia, where the mic became ministry and the stage became sacred ground. We sat down with Queen Sheba for an exclusive interview, and we got some electrifying clips from her Philly performance that will leave you breathless and inspired. So grab your pen, open up your heart, and let the poetry do what it came to do. This is the Connector Live TV, The Influencers. Welcome to the Arts and Poetry segment, featuring the one and only Queen Sheba.
Here to tell the pronoun you are the they. There is no they. You have always been the one, and that is what sparks do. They land, and when they do, they find genius in the theys. Not the kind of genius locked behind skyscrapers with entry badges and elite gates. I'm talking about the everyday kind of genius, the kind that shows up as an idea while you're waiting for your gas to finish pumping. A whisper that lands in the shower or we're staring out of a plane window sparks. The purpose of the spark, those small moments of intuition, imagination, or vision. Not lightning bolts, not lottery tickets, sparks, tiny flares that ask, will you do something with me, please? And you, my pronoun friends, are the they.
Welcome to the Connector Live, The Influencers. This week's edition is Connectors on the Go, and to start the conversation, we present our host, Mr. Michael Rice.
Welcome to the Influencers, where vision meets voice and legacy is built, one story at a time. Tonight, we sit down with the trailblazers whose words don't just echo, they heal, ignite, and transform. From foster care to fame, Queen Sheba has turned pain into poetry and survival into a movement. A Grammy-nominated artist, NAACP Image Award nominee, and educator, Sheba's journey is a masterclass in resilience and radical self-expression. Her work has graced stages from BET to Verses and Flow, and her voice has become a lighthouse for the lost and a megaphone for the brave. She's not just a poet, she's a cultural architect, a truth teller, and a living testament to what happens when you refuse to be silenced. This is more than an interview, this is a moment. This is The Influencers.
I love that.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
all right.
We are so excited to have you with us here today, ahead of your big performance tonight. And tell us, what are you going to do here in the city of Philadelphia? What brings you here?
Well, I have a brand new album out, as Mr. Rice alluded to. So I have another album out called A Hurricane in Heels, and it's up for Grammy consideration.
Okay.
It hasn't been nominated yet, so I'm not sure when this is going to air, but we are in the campaign season for Grammys, and the nominations come out November 7th, and we're all campaigning up until October 15th, and then we have a bit of a break while they tally the votes. And then nominations come out on November 7th. So A Hurricane in Heels, Healed People Don't Act Like That is my 11th studio album over my 24 years of doing poetry. And Philadelphia has always been a cornerstone in my career, so I wanted to come up here tonight and do some tracks off of my album live. And I have a DJ coming and two other amazing poets from the city, which is Lady Siren and then King Quincy. And then plus it's an open mic, so anybody in the city can come out and perform as well. And I just dropped a new book called Clemency.
Yes.
Clemency poems to help you accept the apologies you will never receive, because I'm going through a bit of a turmoil the last 10 years, and that was part of my graduating thesis from my MFA, which was from Queen's University, and well. So that's why I always circle back to Philadelphia, because Philadelphia loves art, loves music, loves poetry, and has always been supportive of me over the last 20 years. And I wanted to come and present A Hurricane in Heels, my new album, and Clemency, my new book, before Grammy voting season really took off. And hopefully, have some people listen to it and read the book and really love and enjoy it, and have me back for your schools and your corporate functions and your colleges and
So tell me something. From foster kids to fame, that's more than a title. That's a legacy. Can you tell us what that means to you?
So that's the title of my first poetry book, From Foster Care to Fame. That was published in 2012 out of a small press out of Chicago, and that is poetry and short stories. And I was adopted when I was 2.5, and it took 2 years for the adoption to go through. I was actually adopted by a white family in the middle of Detroit, so not in the suburbs, not in Dearborn, not in Southfield. And I was a rebel, running around with my fist and my afro, So, and they were hippies. And so, a lot of, in my formative years, they taught me, to be what I want and to do what I want. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a super black revolutionary. And they were like, okay. And so then when I was 15, they actually put me back in a youth home, and I ended up in a youth home from the time I was 15 to 17. And I graduated high school on time, but then I didn't go to college right away. I was running the streets, basically trying to find a job, surviving. I was in survival mode, going from really like apartment house to apartment house, and like if you were renting a room, above your house or garage or whatever, I would find places in the newspaper. I would have little odds and ends jobs. And then I moved to Norfolk, Virginia, and I lived there for 12 years. And then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been there ever since. But, like I said, I also live in Raleigh, North Carolina, too, at the moment, trying to find love. But it's really hard. It's really hard to, as adopted child and an adult, like not really having the foundation of love and not really knowing what that looks like, and not really having that long-term example of what love and what black love looks like. And then not having the example of what black same-sex love looks like, and having that that revolutionary foundation and having someone to talk to. And so it's really hard for me to maintain long relationships. I think the longest romantic relationship I had was 5.5 years, and that's not really that long, So it's heartbreaking when I see myself doing the same patterns over and over again. And so that's how A Hurricane in Heels, my current album, happened. I was like, you know what? Part of healing and part of therapy is looking yourself in the mirror.
Absolutely.
And saying, this is where I went wrong, and hopefully you don't go wrong here. And so I made a whole album about it. And From Foster Care to Fame, I know there's so many foster children out there with great, amazing stories who've grown up to be doctors, lawyers, attorneys, CEOs. And so I have a bit of that because I run my own company, Poetry versus Hip Hop, which is really cool. But, I have a lot of social anxieties and some quirks too. So, there's a lot of balance. It's like I really love people and I really love being around people. I love the stage. And then on the same time, I don't want to necessarily be a CEO and be managing people, but it's like to run a company, you have to do that. And you have to learn how to manage those type of relationships, especially when you want an outcome that affects your bottom line and affects your livelihood. So
Well, that's interesting because we have a lot of common things going on here. I lived in Norfolk, Virginia for a minute, and I worked with foster kids for years.
Okay.
So tell me, how did your experiences shape you as a poet and as an activist?
Well, as a poet, I started writing, and I know this, might sound cliche, but I started writing when I was 7 just to talk to someone.
Okay.
Just to get it out on paper, just so that I wouldn't be volatile at home, because I was being volatile at home. I was destroying things. I was, ripping up my room and tearing up my bed, and because I didn't have an outlet. And so, fight or flight. Yelling at your children, screaming at your partner, resentment, grief, bitterness, overwhelming. Sparks do not land on rage. Sparks will not enter a body in fight or flight, trapped in a job you despise, and they will not sneak into a relationship you know you should have left 3 birthdays ago. When your nervous system is so flooded, your body has mistaken cortisol for caffeine. You are spiritually unavailable to receive genius. Sparks need space. They need clarity. They need you to pump your brakes long enough to receive joy and fulfillment that you deserve. But you cannot birth your next best thing for your family, your block, or your neighborhood that may change the world if your body is in survival mode. The spark will not chase you down. You have to clear a path. But as soon as you utter "they should," without realizing it, you're waking up your spark. And after being asleep so long, blinking so fast to adjust to the light, it's got to plug in for a minute. Some are USB or some are USB-C, solar powered, depending on which generation your spark is. It will come and sit right next to you on your shoulder and annoy you with that hum of an idea that won't let you sleep until you at least voice note yourself that idea. And you can't build a genius lab in a war zone. Your first assignment when you leave here tonight, before you invent a single thing or invite a spark in, forgive yourself.
What a powerful segment. What a lineup of legacy makers. Tonight on the Connector Live TV, The Influencers, we didn't just hear stories, we witnessed movements in motion. We sat with Malcolm Hill, a comedian whose comedy is rooted in purpose and people. We honored Richard Ashby, a literary guardian whose work reminds us that libraries aren't quiet, they're revolutionary. We celebrated Saudamani Gray, the visionary behind Tiny Cakes Bakery, whose baking brilliance is in every layer of community and entrepreneurship. And we felt the fire in our arts and culture spotlight. And we were blessed by the lyrical power of Queen Sheba, whose performance at City Winery in Philly was nothing short of electric. Proof that spoken word is still sacred. A special thanks to my co-host, the legendary Sherri Pennington, whose voice, insight, and energy continues to elevate this platform. And to our viewers, let tonight be a reminder that influence isn't just about fame, it's about frequency, and it's about showing up, speaking truth, and sparking change. I'm your host, Michael Rice, and this is the Connector Live TV, The Influencers. Stay bold, stay brilliant, and as always, be magnificent.
Making connections with every meeting as they travel through their day, establishing relationships with every greeting, making allies along the way. In the city where life is tough, the words can cut like a knife. They're making deals and playing rough, but this is a way of life. They're the people we admire because of their approach and grace. The words ignite you with their fire when they